welcome to my channel. I'm Cath and my channel is made by Cath Craft. Thanks so much for joining me today for my latest vlog. Today in my vlog I'm going to be talking all about what I've been making in July, and I've got some really lovely summery makes to share with you. Before I get started, I wanted to firstly say thank you so much to everyone who subscribed. Since I published my last vlog, I've got over 1,000 subscribers, which I'm super excited about and really grateful for. So thank you very much for everyone who has subscribed. I really appreciate your likes and your comments. I love reading those. And if you haven't subscribed, I'd be really grateful if you would, and also press the little bell notification, which means you'll be notified when I make new vlogs. So thank you so much. I still can't believe that so many people are watching me, but I'm really appreciative of it, and I love sharing what I'm making and all about fabric, so yeah, I'm really happy. So yeah, let's get started. Firstly, I'll talk about what I'm wearing today, and this is a really old make of mine. It's actually one of the first things I made, and I'll put my hair back so you can see. It's kind of like a halter neck style gathered top dress, and I'll show you the pattern, which I've got here somewhere. And unusually for me, this is one of the big 4 pattern companies. It's a simplicity pattern, and I generally sew with the indie patterns, but when I started sewing I didn't really know about those pattern companies, so I started with some of the big 4 patterns, and it's this one here, and I really love it. So yeah, it's Simplicity K1355A, and it's got some lovely variations. So what I'm wearing today is this variation here. It's kind of like a gathered halter neck style top with an elasticated waist, and I'll put a picture up of me wearing so you can see the full length. I've actually just gone for a just above the knee style version, because I think when I made it I didn't have enough fabric to do the long version, and also I've used this lovely fabric. I think it's a Stuart Hillard print. He was on the Great British Sewing Bee. I think he was the first year of the Great British Sewing Bee, and he's produced some lovely prints, I think in conjunction with Craft Cotton Company. Yeah, I really love this print when I saw it, but it's kind of a cotton poplin, so it's a bit thicker, and so it works well for a sort of shorter crop dress, but I'm not sure it'll be flowing enough for the longer version, this sort of version. But I'd love to make another one of these in a more flowy fabric that does go down to the ground, and it's got a lovely slit up the front, which I didn't need for the shorter version, as you'll see from my picture. But yeah, that was one of my earlier makes, and I haven't worn this dress for ages, but I really like it. It's got bias binding around here, which I think was my first time doing bias binding, yeah, it's quite a nice one for summer because it's quite nice and cool. Oh, and it's got little ties at the back, I'll show you. So it's quite a nice detail, I think, the little ties that kind of tie this little halter neck round. So that's what I'm wearing today, because it's really hot here. Again, I seem to always film my vlogs on hot days, and our living room has the sun in it, and it just gets really hot in here, so if I look a little bit hot, that's why. But yeah, let's get started on what I've been actually making in July. So my first July make I wanted to share with you was the Calais cropped shirt, and you might remember this fabric from my July fabric haul, and I'll show you here. So it's this daisy print broderie anglais fabric, which came from Sew Me Sunshine, and I'll put the details of Sew Me Sunshine down below, and I'll put a picture up of me wearing it so you can see the full thing. I'll show you the pattern, the Calais shirt dress, and I've talked about this before. I made the dress version with the pop over placket before, but this time I've gone for the this crop version. So I've used the mandarin collar, and I've gone for the pleat at the back as per the picture for the crop version too. So I'll show you that. There's the pleat at the back, and the mandarin collar, and yeah, I went for the hidden placket here, so you can see there's the placket, and then there's the buttons. The fabric I think is a sort of slightly off-white ivory colour, and the buttons I had in my stash were a little bit creamy, so they don't exactly match, but they're hidden by the placket and they suit the size needed, so I was quite pleased to be able to use them really. So that's it here. What I really like about this fabric is it's slightly sheer, so I've been able to play with the fabric, and I think it looks quite pretty because there's some bits that are kind of sheer, and then the bits that have 2 layers of the fabric, like this bottom bit, the kind of large hem, have a bit more of a opaque look, and I think it looks quite pretty, the different how you can see through them or not. And so again, with the pocket, you can't see through that so much, and because it's a top, I think with the bra underneath it's fine anyway. It's not really super duper sheer. So yeah, that was my first make. I really enjoyed making it. The Calais, I think the instructions are great. It came together really well. I lengthened mine by a couple of inches because I'd had a look online and I've got quite a long body and it seemed to come up quite short, and I didn't want to have any of my middle showing. So the length I've made it just sits about the height of my higher waisted jeans, which I quite like, but I think any shorter I'd have felt a bit uncomfortable with and had to put a vest top underneath. So I'm pleased to have lengthened it a couple of inches because it does come up quite short. But yeah, it was a lovely make. I really enjoyed it. I love all the little finishes on it. Everything's enclosed, so the sleeves are enclosed, and it's got a nice yoke that you kind of top stitch neatly, which is quite fun. And it was my first time doing a hidden placket, and I really liked the closet case instructions. It seemed to come together really well, although I think it did require me to think a little bit harder than some patterns, just to make sure I was doing the pleats in the right place and the buttonholes in the right place. But I definitely recommend it. I'd like to make more, and it didn't use too much fabric up because it's just a crop version, so it's quite a nice one for that. So that was my first make, the closet case cropped shirt by using fabric from Semi Sunshine. So what's next? And I also meant to say about the Calais shirt dress, I didn't mention that pattern is by Closet Core Patterns, and they've recently rebranded. They were closet case patterns, but they popped up on their Instagram and I think on all their social media. They've had a name change for various reasons, so they're now Closet Core Patterns, which I think is a really nice name. So I'll put details of the pattern anyway below. But yeah, moving on to my next make. This is one that's been a long time coming. I got the pattern for Christmas and I've been meaning to make it for ages, and then I finally got the right fabric for it. So I'll show you which pattern I'm talking about. It's the Coco Dress by Tilly and the Buttons. I think one of Tilly and the Buttons' earlier patterns, and one I've been meaning to make for ages. But I think when I started sewing, I loved Tilly and the Buttons' jersey dresses, and I made loads of Freya's and loads of Agnes dresses. And so I never really needed the Coco, but I really just wanted to make it, and it was on my Make 9 this year, my list of 9 garments I wanted to make. So I'm really pleased to have finally done it. And I'll put a picture of me wearing it and I'll show you the fabric, which you'll have seen if you watch my July fabric haul. And it's this really cute cotton jersey with little hearts and black stripes. And so there's me wearing it. And I went for the plain dress version without the pockets, this one here. So yeah, I'm really happy with how it turns out. But I have a few things that I kind of did differently from the pattern. Firstly, I use cotton jersey, and the pattern recommends medium weight fabrics with little stretch like Ponte or double knit or interlock. But I'm not a big fan of Ponte. I don't like the polyester content. I find it just makes me a little bit sweaty. I found it really hard to find any interlock that was kind of cotton that I liked, and so I thought I'll just give it a go with jersey. And I found this jersey, and I think it was around last year, and I didn't manage to get any, but then Material Girl Laura posted some, so I snapped it up. And it's actually, I'm really pleased with how it's worked. I think it may have given the dress a slightly different, less structured shape than if you'd used a slightly heavier weight fabric. But actually it's really comfy and really relaxed, and I think I'll get a lot of wear out of it. And I also wanted to mention, usually in Tilly and the Buttons patterns, I'm a size 2, and that usually comes up and fits me really well. With the Coco, I made the size 2 as usual, but it came up a little bit big. I don't know whether it's just the style of the dress and whether it was because of the jersey that it didn't hold its shape, and so it felt a little bit baggy on me. But I did need to make quite a few adjustments along the arm and side seams to make it fit me and give a more flattering fit for me. So it was fine to do, and I just spent a little bit of time adjusting and taking in the seams gradually to get to the point where I wanted them, and I'm really happy with how it's finished. But I did go back and adjust the pattern pieces slightly to fit me better, because I'm sure that I'll be making more of these. So that was that one really. So I'm really happy with it, and I think it'll be a really useful dress. I think it'll be perfect just with bare legs and trainers for kind of that sort of in-betweeny weather where it's not too hot and not too cold. And I can also see myself getting quite a lot of wear out of it in winter with kind of like a big chunky cardi and some black tights. So yeah, I really like it. So I'm glad I finally bit the bullet and actually made that one. So that's my second July make. Just thinking what to talk about next. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about this little quick make I made. I have kind of an ongoing mini project to use up some of my remnants of fabrics. Particularly from when I first started sewing, I kind of always went by how much the pattern said you needed on the fabric, and often ended up with quite a lot too much. So I'm trying to go through those remnants I have from my early sewing days and actually make them into wearable garments rather than having a big pile sitting around in my room. So my latest top that I have been making using up a remnant is the, I'll show you the pattern. That took me a moment to find that one. Is this one here. It's the Kirsten Kimono tee by Maria Denmark Patterns. A free pattern I mentioned before. It's a great free pattern, and it really doesn't need much fabric just because it's one front and one back piece and then a neckband piece because the sleeves are grown on. So it's for jersey fabrics, and this is the top I made, and it's a it's been in my drawer folded up, so it's a little bit creased, but it's in this really lovely fabric, and this fabric came from Stoff and Still. So it's jersey fabric, yeah, with these lovely tulips on it. I think it's a really cute design, and I made a Freya dress with a cowl neck in this fabric originally, and that was one of my quite early makes, and I really love it. I actually don't wear, it's one of those silly dresses that I don't wear that much because I like it so much, and I really should just wear it more, but it's more of a wintry one anyway. So yeah, I just whipped this one up. It didn't take too long, and I thought I'd mention, I've made 2 of these now, I've got the other one here as well, another remnant make, this BU jersey one, and each time this pattern has 2 different options for how you do the neckline. You can either do the neckline using like a ribbing, kind of like attaching an actual neckband, and I just use the actual fabric itself rather than ribbing, but attach the neckband, kind of similar to how you'd attach a neckband to a t-shirt. There's also another option, which I tried with this version. It's attaching it like a binding, so it's almost like how you'd attach a bias binding, and it gives a kind of slightly slimmer neckband, and it's slightly kind of comes out slightly thicker, I think, and just gives a slightly different finish. So I'll hold them up so you can see. That's the binding version. That's the ribbing version. I think the binding version works slightly better. It's given a slightly smoother finish, but it was really interesting to try out both versions, and I like how they include both versions. And I think that you can use slightly less fabric for the binding one, and I was really squeezing this out of this remnant, so that's what I did for this one. But I quite like that, how you kind of learn a couple of different techniques, and I think that's really great for a free pattern, that they give you a couple of options like that, as well as everything else with it being free. So that's this pattern here. What I've mentioned before about this pattern, if you do decide to make it, the seam allowances aren't included in the pattern pieces, so watch out for that. That's that one there. So now I wanted to talk about a couple of playsuits I've made this month. So historically I haven't really wanted to wear or sew with playsuits and jumpsuits. I guess partly I was a bit concerned about the fit, because with a dress you don't have to worry about how it fits under the crotch, and you don't have to make any adjustments there, so it makes the fit slightly easier. But also I wasn't really sure that I was a playsuit or a jumpsuit person. I don't know why. I guess maybe they've just become a little bit more trendy recently, and I've seen so many lovely versions on Instagram that maybe I've suddenly been converted. So I've actually made 2 this month, and I wanted to talk about those next. So the first one is this one here, one of Tilly and the Button's more recent patterns. It's the Alexa jumpsuit or playsuit, and I went for the playsuit version. I'll show you the line drawings, if I've got them here somewhere. Here we are. You can. It's kind of. So it's a kind of a pretty sort of slightly curved V-neck top with buttons, and then there's a waistband with a channel. So instead of being elasticated, you pull it in to give the shape with a waistband, and it's got grown-on sleeves, which I like because it makes it a little bit easier rather than attaching the sleeves. And then it comes down either into a sort of tapered leg trouser or a playsuit, and I went for the playsuit version. And you can add on pockets and little cuffs if you wanted to, but I didn't. And so I'll put a picture up of me wearing my version, and I'll show you it here too. And it's made in this lovely, again, it's a bit wrinkled because it's been on my drawer, and this lovely viscose, it's a linen look viscose from Fursa Fabrics, and it's really beautiful, and it was really reasonably priced, but lovely quality. It's got kind of like a linen texture to it, you might be able to see, but it's really drapey, and it was really nice to work with, and it's really it's completely opaque, which is great for a playsuit because you don't want to be showing your pants off too much. And I use these lovely buttons which I got from Minerva. These little sort of wooden buttons, which I just thought set it off nicely and added a bit of interest from quite a plain playsuit otherwise. So that's my Alexa. Oh yes, so I put a picture up of me there. It was a really enjoyable make and pretty quick to make. The only thing I'd mention is I made a couple of I made one adjustment, which was to the rise. Tilly and the buttons on their fitting advice say that they've added quite a lot of roominess in the rise, so to be wary of making adjustments. But I know I do have quite a long body and a long sort of waist to kind of crotch ratio, as it were. So I decided I'd lengthen mine slightly, and I'm pleased I did because it fits really well like that. So probably most people wouldn't need to lengthen it there, but I am glad I did because I didn't want it sitting too tightly around the crotch, obviously. So that's the adjustment I made. Other than that, it sewed up really nicely. I kind of wanted to go for quite like a clean, simple lines look, and I think I've achieved that with this. So that was my Alexa, and it's a lot of fun to wear. The only tricky bit obviously is going to the bathroom, which is one of those tricky things with play suits. But other than that, I really enjoyed wearing it, and it's really practical for being with my kids because I don't have to worry about the skirts blowing up or anything like that. Yeah, it's really easy to kind of be playing with them wearing it. So yeah, I'm really happy with it, and I enjoyed making that a lot. And just have a little drink of water because it's quite warm. And so on the back of that, I decided to make another play suit. And this is one that I think is one of the most popular ones around. So you'll probably have seen it before. It's the Zadie Jumpsuit by Paper Theory. And I've heard so many good things about it, and I was really excited to finally make it. And then I saw this fabric here, this beautiful viscose linen, which I got from Minerva, which is such vibrant colours. So I thought that would be a perfect type of fabric to make the Zadie in. So I'll put a picture up of me wearing it. Yeah, this is the actual garment. So it's hard to, because it's quite a lot of fabric, it's kind of tie-waisted, but so it's kind of a bias binding around the wrap front, which I really enjoyed doing. I think it's a really nice detail. And then it's got a tie waist and a little hole here where the tie fits through, which came together really nicely. Yeah, I've worn this already out, and it's super comfy. Yeah, it's just a really lovely one. One of my favourite makes I've made in recent times. And I was quite lucky because I've heard a few people had issues with the fit of the Zadie jumpsuit. But I had a lot of research about it, and I decided to size down because it sounded like it came a bit large. So my measurements would fall between a size 8 and a size 10. But I decided to go for the size 6 because I'd heard it came up large, and that fit really well. And I didn't make any adjustments to the length of the bodice or any adjustments to the rise. And actually it's just come out just right for me. So I was really pleased with that because I did feel a bit nervous cutting into this beautiful fabric. I thought, oh, if it doesn't fit, I'll be so disappointed to ruin this lovely fabric. But yeah, it came out really well. So yeah, I really recommend this pattern. It's a lovely sew. I guess because it's got a tie waist, as you can see, there aren't any zips or buttons, so it's quite straightforward and it comes up together fairly quickly. And it's nice how you can adjust the fit because of the waistband. So yeah, I really love that one, and I can't wait to wear that again. So hopefully the warm weather will continue for me to get that out a few more times this summer. So what else have I got to talk about? Oh yeah, there's a couple of makes I wanted to share that I've been making for other people this month. The first one is, which I talked about before, and I haven't actually got a picture of the garment because it's already been gifted, was, and I'll put up a picture, is this Dalmatian print Freya top for my mum. I've got the fabric here so I can show you again. It's a lovely quality jersey from Stoff and Still with these Dalmatians on. And it's a bit warm for her to wear it now, but I think she was pleased with it, and it's got nice long arms and long body to fit my mum, who is quite long limbed and long bodied. So that's just a really quick, easy make, but I wanted to share it. And then the other one, which I only just finished this week, is on for my daughter. And this bit here is this little pansy dress. I'll show you the pattern. It's the pattern here. It's a pansy dress by Poppy and Jazz, which is the Sew Over It children's pattern brand. And so they do patterns for newborn to 6 years. So yeah, I use this lovely, vibrant lilac jersey from Material Girl Laura. Sorry about that, we had to deliver it at our front door, so I had to just pop off. But yeah, so I was talking about this pansy dress I made for my daughter, the Poppy and Jazz pattern, in this lovely vibrant lilac jersey from Material Girl Laura. It's not a colour I would really choose for myself, so it's lovely. She's got quite different skin tone and hair colour to me, so it's lovely to be able to choose some different colours for her. Yeah, it's got a little ruffle on the bottom because she likes swishing about in dresses, and she was happy to model it. I'll put a picture up of her modelling it. She was very keen to try it on and model it, so it must have been a success. And it's such a straightforward little pattern. If you're happy with sewing with jersey, it sews up really nicely. I did need to narrow it slightly because it comes up a little bit wide on her, but I guess with children's clothing the fit isn't too critical anyway, but I thought I'd mention that's what I'd done for her version. So I think that's everything in terms of sewing I wanted to share, but I thought I'd also share a little mini knitting project because I as well as sewing, I do like to knit. I think I really started knitting before I started sewing, and then sewing kind of took over. But I do find knitting very relaxing, and particularly when I want to break from sewing sometimes. And I got for Christmas this book here, Knitted Cats and Kittens by Sue Stratford, and it's been really fun to have a go at this. So I thought I'd share what I've made so far. This is Super Cat, which my son requested, and yeah, he was a lot of fun to sew. Yeah, it was just a nice little project as a break and something that's easy to pick up and put down. And lots of fiddly bits, and I quite like knitting the fiddly little bits, so that was quite up my street. Yeah, so I'd really recommend this book if you're looking for something a bit fun, knitting wise, if you like to knit. I also made 2 little mice here, one for my son and one for my daughter, and I've got a cat in progress for my daughter too. And the only thing to mention is there was some unusual wool I'm not so familiar with in this book, which I find a bit hard to source because his outfit's made of double knit, but his actual body's made of sport weight yarn, which I hadn't come across before, and I found it a bit harder to source, but I did get some on the internet. And it works really well because it's a lot less fluffy than double knit, so I think it'll make him more harder wearing if he's kind of going to be flying around the house doing rescues with my son. So yeah, it was a lot of fun, but I thought I'd share that as another little crafty project that I did. Yeah, that was that. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and hopefully I'll be back again with another vlog soon, so do press the bell icon so you can find out when that is. Hopefully talking about some fabrics I've got for August. I've got a couple of more wintry fabrics in recently, so I'm almost hoping it gets a bit cooler so that it feels a bit more right to sew those, but equally the weather's lovely here and I can't complain, so yeah, hopefully that'll carry on a bit longer. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll hopefully see you again soon. Bye bye.